This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined by former amateur star turned world title challenger Savannah Marshall. Savannah, thank you very much for joining me on this Zoom meeting. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
That's good to hear. Bit of a different one today. How is lockdown going for you? Obviously, your world title challenge has been pushed back. Has it been bizarre, sort of trying to keep fit and stay motivated during such a weird time?
Yeah, probably the first 2 weeks I really struggled, especially with me world title fight getting postponed and not happening. I remember on the Friday, I remember thinking, oh, I'd have just been getting weighed in now. And then the Saturday came and I was thinking, I'll just be walking into the ring now type thing. But since then, I've got myself into a bit of a routine and I'm not finding it too bad, to be honest. Yeah.
So obviously you can't be working with Peter day in, day out in the gym. You do still have a date looming. They've given you a revised date of June 27th.
Mm-hmm.
How bizarre is it sort of preparing for a world title challenge on your own? And how does that differ from the day in, day out with Peter that you would be doing?
Well, to be honest, I'm 10 weeks out. 10 weeks out on Saturday. So I think when it gets to the point of 7 weeks, I think that's when I'll start, worrying a bit, because that's when I should be sparring. I should be, proper in the mix of my camp. Whereas at the minute, I'm just doing a lot of running, a lot of sprint work, weights when I can. So it's just about keeping myself, my cardiovascular fitness high type thing. But like I said, come 7 weeks, that's when I would want to be sparring. So I think that's when, ask me in 3 weeks' time.
How often are you in touch with Peter then? I just can't get my head around how much of a bizarre situation this must be for you. Like you said, not being able to spar or be around your coach. How often do you speak to him, and what sort of guidance does he give you from the position we're in?
Yeah, I speak to Peter on the regular. He calls me or rings me every few days. But at the minute, it's just seeing if I'm safe, asking how my family are, that type of thing. Because although I have got a date, I've got to train as if that date's happening, but no one knows what's going to happen. Although it's 10 weeks away, I personally feel like it is a bit too premature. But until I'm told otherwise, I'm still fighting, so I've still got to train for that. But yeah, Peter just keeps in touch. It's mainly just seeing if I'm safe and if I'm well, if I'm healthy type thing, because health's the more priority at the minute.
You did mention there you've got doubts over this new provisional date, but you have to work towards it regardless in case it does go ahead. Have you had any word from anybody at all as to how likely that is? Obviously, I think Joshua Pulev was meant to be the week before. That's been postponed. Have you heard anything?
No, nothing. All I know is obviously I'm during the 27th, and then the week after, I think it might be the Welsh, the Selby date, and then there's another show the week after. So there's obviously a lot of us kind of in the same boat, just kind of, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Yeah. But apart from that, I haven't, like I said, I've got to train as though it is happening, because until I'm told otherwise, it is.
There's been talk of studio shows, behind closed doors shows, when everything sort of gets going again. Is that something you thought about? How would you feel about that? About fighting behind closed doors? Is that something you're completely happy with?
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me. When I've done interviews in the past, I just think back to when I had my debut. I think I had my debut in Vegas, and I was on about 4:00 in the afternoon. I think there was only about 6 people there. So that doesn't really bother me. But for me, I want to fight, because not only do I want to be a world champion, but financially as well. Because I did my whole camp right up until 2 weeks before I was meant to fight. I'd spent a fortune hoping to get that money back. But obviously, because the fight didn't go ahead, that money's been and gone now.
Savannah, we've got the time today, and we've got a bit of time to reflect on everything. I just wanted to go way back rather than just talking about current events. You achieved so much as an amateur. You're a world champion. With regards to the Olympics, we were coming towards an Olympic cycle that's now being pushed back. It just never really quite happened for you. Is it true that after Rio, you nearly walked away from the sport completely?
Yeah, 100%. It's funny because it was only about 3 weeks ago I actually watched my quarter-final fight from London, first time. And, you know, I've never been bitter about it or anything like that, but I watched it a couple of times and I just don't see how I got beaten that fight. I think there was one round, the third round, I think I got beat 4 points to 0 when I just couldn't see how that had happened. If anything, it was the other way around, and I thought I won that round quite clearly. So just to be pipped, just to be, you know, to be, I was going at that tournament as the number one, and then, you know, just to miss out on a medal, do another 4-year cycle, and then qualify for Rio, and then to be in the same position where I think I was hard done by again. And it just got to the point where I think, like, right, what have I got to need to do? Because I know that I am a good boxer, and I know that I probably am a lot better than the people who are meddling. So where am I going wrong? Do you know, is it just not meant to be? So I'd had enough. I'd totally had enough, and I was ready to walk away from the sport.
Truthfully, if you had gone on and sort of secured an Olympic medal, do you think you'd be in the position you are now? Do you think you would have turned professional?
No, not at all. Before turning professional, I had no desire or anything like that to turn professional. But looking back now, there was no pros out there really. And then after Rio, obviously Katie just totally, you know, lit up the professional world for women. So at the time, no, I had no desire of turning pro. But seeing what Katie's done, I probably would have, yeah.
Mm. With regards to that sort of Mayweather Promotions deal that did sort of lift you out the amateur ranks into the pro game, as you mentioned there, making your debut in Las Vegas, how did that all sort of come to be, and what was it that completely swayed you in the end to turn over?
So basically, after Rio, I had a good couple of months out, and I was contemplating on whether I wanted to box anymore. And then someone who I know got in contact and said, "Oh, look, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay? Are you going to turn pro?" They were like, "Because Mayweather Promotions want to offer you a contract," and it was a whole package to train in America, move to America, have my debut on the McGregor Mayweather undercard. So I was just like, "Wow, this is too much of an opportunity to pass up." So I grabbed it with both hands, and that's how that come about. And at the time, I was thinking, you know what? Like I said there, I felt hard done by the sport. I felt like there was things I deserved that I never ever got through no fault of my own, and that is personally how I felt. So for me, it was kind of the universe saying, "Wow, here you go, don't give up," type thing.
Now, when you did go out there and you sort of moved not only where you were fighting, but your whole training campus, you mentioned it was a whole package. When you sort of reflect on that experience now, what did you learn out there about yourself more than anything?
It was that was the biggest learning experience. That was the biggest. How's the word to say? So I moved over there on my own, and although I was only there for 6 months, I really came into myself, so to speak. I've always been a shy person, but over there, because I was on my own, and the only time I'd ever see people was when I was in the gym. So I used to crave conversation. So I used to go in the gym and not shut up because I hadn't spoken to anyone for 10, 12 hours. So it really brought me out of my shell, and it was only 6 months. It was a great time of my life.
Now, when you made the decision to come back over to the UK, you're with Mick, now with Matchroom on the verge of a world title shot. Does that sort of make you feel that bit more justified and firm up that it was the completely correct decision to come back home now?
Yeah, I do. I learned quite quickly that, boxing isn't all just, right, we'll give you this fight, right, we'll do this. Boxing is very hard work, and it's full of broken promises. And I learned that quite early on in my career, where I was quite lucky for that. So although it was a good experience, it was also a quite harsh experience. And I felt my pro career has always been stop, start, stop, start. And like my amateur career, there was times when I thought, oh, this is happening to me again. Why aren't I'm not where I want to be through no fault of my own? But yeah, looking back now, I believe that I'm with the best team in the world, Matchroom, and Matchroom really look after you.
Now, Peter Fury's exceptionally well thought of in the boxing world. You're sort of working under his tutelage since he came back. If you could, you'd summarise the main things that Peter's instilled in you in the time you've been working with him. What are the main changes he's made to you as a fighter and as a person as well?
Um, Peter's really helped a lot with my confidence. Really helped a lot, and he's brought back the love of the sport for me. I love training. I love competing. I love everything about it. But one thing that Peter's always been real with me. He's never ever filled me full of false hope or said this might happen. Do you know, when there's been times when Peter's been really brutal and upfront and said, no, that's not going to happen, or you'll not get that fight, or we're not going to do that. When I first started training, because Peter actually trained me for my debut before I went to America. And I remember at the time Peter saying, you want to be aiming for a world title 9 to 10 fights into your career. And at the time, I think Katie had fought for a world title 5 fights into her career. And there was girls getting world title shots who'd been pro a year, because obviously it's a lot more, you get fast tracked a lot more than the men. And at the time, I remember thinking, oh, I won a world title shot before 9 or 10 fights. And looking back now, I'm coming up before my 9th bout, and it is a world title shot. So he's always been right.
Now, all being well, you will become a world champion this year. You know, whenever this revised date goes ahead, if you do capture that light heavyweight title, have you had to think about what it is you want to achieve in the professional ranks? If you do go on to become world champion, what else is there that you want to go out and chase? Obviously, it's not uncommon for women to move up and down in weight. You're going up for this fight. Is it on your mind to become a multi-weight world champion, perhaps?
Yeah, so a lot of people are asking, oh, can you not make super middle anymore? When that's not the case. I went up for this fight because the opportunity was there. Eddie asked me, oh, do you want to, there's an opportunity to fight for a world title in your, say, home city of Newcastle, but it's at light heavy. Do you want the fight? And I was like, yeah, God, or better than, I'll probably never get this chance again to fight for a world title in Newcastle. So that's the reason for going up to light heavy. Like I said, I'm a natural super middle with the desire to move down to middle because I know I can make it. So yeah, at the minute I'm just enjoying boxing. I'm really enjoying competing, training, like I said, and being the best I can be. And I think there will become a time when I think I don't want to do this no more. And I think as soon as I start having them thoughts, I think that's when I'll have to, regroup and think, right, well, do you know what's next for me?
So then you touched on there, Savannah. You said, you're more than happy to move up and wait for this world title fight. What does that mean to you to be fighting for your first world title up there and have your friends and your family nearby as well to be able to come down? I'm sure it'll be once it goes ahead, it'll be a hell of a night.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my last fight was in October. That was in Newcastle. It was the first time me fighting in the Northeast since I was probably 14 or 17 or something like that. So it'd be amazing. And the thing is, for it not to happen, you couldn't have written it. I'd sold hundreds and hundreds of tickets, and then 2 weeks before to get rescheduled. So it's just one of them things, and I'm still dreaming of it happening.
Now, Savannah, before I let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of the fights that we expect to go ahead when lockdown's sort of out the way. First one, huge fight for women's boxing. You were speaking about Katie Taylor earlier. We know that fight's a done deal. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. We're just waiting to see how everything's going to play out. Who do you lean towards in that fight?
I lean towards Amanda, but the only thing that's stopping me is, obviously, I think she was like super feather. So she's boxed at a lot lighter weights than Katie, and Katie is proven that she is a handful and she's sharp. I don't know. I just think Katie might have the beef on her, and being like a natural lightweight. So I don't know, but technical and speed wise, I think Amanda, and I'm really excited for that fight. I think it's brilliant for women's boxing.
Now, we are expecting a sort of four-woman box off in a way. I think Taylor-Serrano and then Breakus against McCaskill as well. And Matchroom are trying to sort of make winners against winners. Who do you think will assert themselves as the creme de la creme out of them? Obviously, Breakus has fought at that higher weight. How do you see that sort of four-person mini tournament, so to speak, sort of playing out in the end?
I think Cecilia will just outclass McCaskill. I really do. I think she'll outclass her. I think she'll come away with a win for them, out of them too. And obviously Katie and Amanda. I'd love Katie to do it. I'm a big Katie Taylor fan, but I'm leaning towards Amanda. But then with Cecilia, was she going to come down to lightweight, super lightweight? I don't think she's ever done that before, so that's another issue. But for me, personally, I'd love Katie just to smash them all.
Now, with Cecilia, she's been having a lot of confrontation with Clarissa Shields online recently. There's been a lot of back and forths. Obviously, you were talking about the weight class differences there. You know, if those two were to meet, Cecilia said she thinks that fight will happen down the line, but she wants to take care of business in this sort of four-person mini box-off first. What do you make of that fight? I know Clarissa's someone always mentioned with yourself, but if she was to meet Breakus, how would you see that?
I think Clarissa's just got the youth on her, and I don't even think Clarissa's. I think Cecilia's past her prime. You know, I think she late 30s, early 40s maybe. And I just think that, you know, Clarissa's youth, and obviously she's a lot bigger girl. I think Clarissa will, you know, take Cecilia apart.
Now, for you, when you sort of transitioned from amateur to professional, I remember, I think it was an interview with Andy, one of my colleagues did. You mentioned the fact that it was a bit bizarre going from such a big, vast, talented pool of fighters in the amateurs to what remains quite a small pool in the professional games, but with the barriers we're seeing broken down by the likes of Katie Taylor and women's boxing completely on the rise right now, do you think that pool will only get bigger with time, become more competitive in the pro ranks as well?
Yeah, definitely. I seen it as, you know, after Tokyo 2020, but obviously that's been moved on. So you might not see another, like after Rio, a big surge of, you know, the top amateurs all turn pro at the same time. And like that'll probably happen after 2020. But obviously because Tokyo is being pushed back, I don't think you'll see that, you know, that big surge again until 2022 now.
Do you think there will be a temptation from some fighters that were in line to fight at Tokyo to maybe just look towards the professional ranks once everything resumes rather than waiting?
I don't know, maybe the older girls, but no, not really, because I do think it's the same with the men, but especially for the women. If you haven't got, you know, an Olympic medal, it is hard for you to make a big, you know, this is who I am on the scene type thing. Like I said, Katie got that Olympic gold, and look at the platform she got on straight away. You know, she was on some of the biggest undercards, AJ's undercards. You know, she done it the right way. But like I said, not everyone has an Olympic medal, and it is harder to turn over when you don't have that medal.
Right, Savannah, I think I've kept you for around about 20 minutes now. I'm not going to keep you any longer. You probably want to get on with your day, but thank you so much for making time for me and for Boxing Social. And I'm sure I'll see you up in the Northeast when we finally get the green light for this thing. But until then, good luck with training. Thanks so much for your time.